friends, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Fort Worth Roots.
And today, we're going to talk about fireworks safety! First, leave the fireworks to professionals. Don't shoot fireworks in your cars, churches, hospitals, schools, gas stations, or other structures. Or me!
Thing you come up with.
Amen, brother.
The loctopus, that's a good one that nobody's taken. Why has nobody taken the loctopus yet?
Go into detail on that, please.
Eight hands of justice. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them I come up with.
You need an alter ego.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of them.
You can find Fort Worth Roots on all of your favorite streaming services. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and many more. You can find us on all social media platforms as Fort Worth Roots, and we are on YouTube with videos with most of our episodes, including this one that you're going to listen to here today. We talk more about upcoming events and our sponsors at the end of the episode. Real quick, this episode is sponsored by Roofing Solutions by Darren Hauk. You can get them online at roofingsolutionshauk.com or call them at 817-882-6520. Tell them that you heard about them on the Fort Worth Roots podcast, and you'll get 50% off a roofing tune-up. More information about that at the end of the show and in the show notes for this episode. September 23rd from 11 to 6, we're going to be out at Pouring Glory. Pouring Glory is at 1001 Bryan Avenue in Fort Worth, Texas. And the most important thing we want you to know about this year's event, we did this last year. This is year 2 of our big annual event. This year, we're proud to say that a portion of the proceeds from this event and a few other things that we're doing are going towards Cook Children's Hospital. We've got 4 bands on stage: Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations, Late to the Station, Cassandra May Laurence, and Jaybirds. There's going to be a vendor market, including a lot of fun things like permanent jewelry, local handmade art, wood turning, and a bunch of other cool stuff for our vendor market. Your entry has already been paid for by our sponsors, and whenever you come in the gate, we will have a bunch of free giveaways and some other cool stuff right as you come into the gate there at the Pouring Glory event. Again, that's going to be September 23rd from 11 to 6 at Pouring Glory, and we can't wait to see you out there. Bring lots of friends. You probably already figured it out by listening to our little intro there, but we've got the Texas Law Hawk with us today. You can find him on Instagram as the Texas Law Hawk. This was an excellent recording, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we enjoyed making it for you. Thank y'all for being here. That's enough talking out of me. Please give it up for our new friend, Bryan Wilson, and let's start the show. Everybody gets nervous. I wanted to ask you if we could start off by playing one of your clips, because it's been 2 or 3 years since you made a video.
No, well, I've made more videos since then, but I haven't released anything for the last probably 2 years, something like that, year and a half. So yeah, absolutely, play whatever one you think is funny.
Well, they're all great. So I was going to ask you to this is your YouTube channel. And you could pick one, and it'll play into the Roadcaster for us. Probably after an ad.
Are we trying to get people's attention with the first one?
Oh, just
everyone's favorite.
They're all epic.
Everyone's favorite is commercial 3.
All right, let's do it.
What do I do? Just
click the one. It'll probably play an ad.
Bryan Wilson, Texas Law Hawk. Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk. Talons of justice. Due process. Do wheelies. It's hot out here. Bryan Wilson, El Halcon de la Ley. Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk.
This shit still makes me laugh every time I see it.
It's so epic. Yeah, this is the one I saw when I called you, because I saw the stockyards in the back. I'm like, he's got to be from Fort Worth.
Oh, yeah. Born and raised.
Well.
Rest in peace to my buddy Eric.
It's no refusal.
And then Nick Butts, my best friend right there.
So you have to blow. Otherwise, you're going to lose your license.
He was whiskey drunk.
Was he?
Oh, my God.
He looks pretty.
Officer Butts. He was out of control that night. Which was better. The more and more we fed him, the better Officer Butts he became.
Surprise! So this was not the first take.
Yeah. Someone Someone just called me!
We had one take at that right there. One take. That's from Buddy Kenny.
That's why you don't blow. Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk! If you or a loved one been arrested, so call Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk today.
All right. I got it out of my system. I had to do it.
Oh, yeah. No, it's good audio. I mean, even listening to it,
Yeah.
it hits hard.
And people listening to the show will have to go to Bryan Wilson, Texas Law Hawk YouTube channel to check that out. But, yeah, epic. And that for sure was the one I saw whenever I decided to reach out and call you. And it was just kind of a shot in the dark. I figured you're a busy guy. Probably didn't have any time for simple podcasters.
I love doing podcasts, especially something local where I'm talking to somebody that is either from Fort Worth or has a lot of connections to it, and your podcast is named Fort Worth Roots.
Right.
And
Dead giveaway.
Right. And I had my intern, Emma. She's a sweetheart. She, because I got a couple of requests this week. I don't know why. Well, probably because that shit went viral on, what's cursing stance?
Oh, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We use the words.
She basically, I had several people that reached out to me this week because somebody on TikTok shared one of my videos and it went nuts. And so a couple of people reached out and she was like, this is the one out of all these, this is the one you should do. And I was
Talking
like,
about Fort Worth Roots.
yes,
Excellent.
absolutely.
Wow, that's high praise. Thank you, Emma.
Absolutely. Shout out to Emma. She's amazing.
Well, and I know I've seen these videos before, but I think you're probably right. Yeah, something sparked up some controversy. People needed to see it.
Yeah. So it's somebody shared it on TikTok, which is and I apologize about this.
It's all good.
I just have to have nicotine, and so as soon as I saw your vape, it's funny. There's a lot of triggers that happen, but that's
one of the.
I
big
quit
ones.
vaping.
It's on the list for me too. Yeah.
January 1st. You'll be able to breathe again.
Yeah.
It's something you don't realize that you've lost until.
Well, and I can still sprint. I can still run pretty good distance. I mean, just recently went for like a 3-mile run. I didn't really have any issues, but I was a runner before I started vaping and kept running. So.
And you noticed no difference.
Oh hell yeah, I noticed a difference.
I was about to say.
Absolutely. So, I go through phases where I can stay away from the vape for most of the day, and maybe I'll just take a couple drags at the end of the day or something like that. Feeling a lot better, and then we'll go on vacation and drink for a week, and
then just
I'm vaping like a maniac.
Yeah. And then you come back and you're shit.
Yeah.
That run was a lot harder.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, same here. But thankfully, I don't know if nicotine gum is honestly any better. It probably is exactly the same. But
everything's killing us, and that's
yeah,
something that
I'm dying one day at a time. I'm good.
Something you lean on whenever you're telling yourself, okay, time to quit, and then you start having those cravings. You're like, everything's killing me anyway.
But so there's been a couple times where I'd quit, and then I figured out it's almost exactly a 3-week period of nicotine anger that just comes out of nowhere. That's just like and maybe I don't display it as much, but certainly the feeling is there of like, I'm just gonna smash something. I need to smash just some object that's about this big, and then just it needs to crumble, and I'll be fine after that.
Yeah.
But
so like at a 3-week plateau or something?
And then after about 3 weeks, it goes away.
Oh, okay.
And then there's occasional random things that happen that'll be like, oh, I would really like that. But I've noticed that, there's a lot of things out there that say we need to get rid of smoking in movies, and then smoking in commercials, smoking in all this, smoking advertisements. And I was skeptical of that. But sure enough, as soon as somebody on any media that I'm watching either smokes, vapes, dips, anything, I'm like, oh, where's my nicotine gum?
Yeah.
It certainly does work. I believe that can be a little bit of a trigger.
I thought Philip Morris and the whole tobacco industry was going to get rid of vaping. It certainly looked like they were lobbying hard to get rid of it.
I thought they were going to be all about it.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to be, it's a moneymaker, and it gets away. It's like, hey, we're not the evil tobacco guys. We're the nice, kind,
millennial
vaping,
happy, yeah.
For children type thing. Look, it's delicious, blueberry,
look at all the
bubblegum flavored. Yeah. Oh my God. And yeah, bless all their hearts. Oh man, I think most people realize that vaping is a nightmare for your lungs, but there's at least going to be some people that get caught in that little trap. But they're going out of existence. I'm sure tobacco companies will figure out something else. So
Yeah. What do you think it'll be next? Injections?
Injections?
I'm
I
rooting
don't
for
know.
Injections.
Like an injection of nicotine
Yeah,
that
nicotine just straight to the jugular. Just get this over with. You don't have to chew gum. You don't have to vape.
they say that
24-hour release.
they say that it helps you with Parkinson's later on as you get older.
It's a stimulant. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with them and
Neuroplasticities, something like that.
I mean, it certainly does help to have nicotine, I think, for both focus and for... By the way, kids, if you've never tried a vape before, I'm just...
Go on.
Don't do it and stuff. But if you want to focus better in college and school and high school and or middle... I'm sure they're studying in middle school now.
Sure.
You know,
Absolutely.
it's modern day. Anyway, just kidding, but, you know, it is...
Is what it is.
It does work.
So you're from Fort Worth originally?
Born and raised in Fort Worth.
Excellent.
Went to St. Paul Lutheran preschool through 8th grade, and then Paschal.
Okay.
Paschal High School, which is not too terribly far away from here, and still in contact with a lot of my teachers. A lot of my teachers, former teachers, feed me clients, which is cool. One of which, you know who you are. I'm very thankful and appreciative for that. Also brought me back in to talk to her seniors. I think she's amazing. I like her a lot. And born and raised, and then went to A&M. Sort of hated my life for 4 years or however long I was down there, and then went up to Texas Tech Law School, and then loved it up there.
And when's the ignition point? When you pass your bar? Is that when you're a full-fledged attorney?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird process. So you work really, really hard to get into law school, and then you're finally there, and then you have to work really, really hard your first semester, or you're going to fail out and there be a big embarrassment and everything else. And then you work really, really hard because your grades aren't where you're supposed to be, and you keep doing that until you graduate 3 years later, and then you have like 1 or 2 days off, and then they're like, all right, are you ready to study for the bar? Because that's next. And then you have to work really, really hard so you're not a failure at the bar, and then you pass or you don't, and then become an attorney, and then you work really, really hard from then on.
Yeah.
To, you know, become the goddamn Texas Law Hawk, or like whatever, you know, thing you come up with.
Amen, brother.
The Loctopus, that's a good one that nobody's taken. Why has nobody taken the Loctopus yet?
Go into detail on that, please.
Eight hands of justice. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them I come up with.
You need an alter ego.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of them out there, but so I just sort of, I think it was during mock trial that I came up with the Law Hawk thing, and which is like our first year, we're already nose deep in work. It might have been my second year in law school, but we were nose deep in work. Aside from like the extracurricular, you know, you can go compete in a contest for mock trial to gain the respect of your peers, and it's good because it trains you for the future. But at the time, it's all about like, oh, I gotta compete so I can be cool. And so you go do that, and it's like 3 a.m, and we're exhausted in the library. And I was like, you know what we need? We need power animals for this. And somebody else was like, oh, what about the legal eagle? And I was like, nah, it's too cheesy. What about the Law Hawk? And like that's sort of how it happened. They all laughed, and I'm like, it got to be fired up.
Were y'all several bourbons in when you came up with that?
I didn't really drink that much in law school, but I mean, it was probably, I mean, maybe before contest, I imagine. But I mean, though I'm not saying like I'm above that or anything else. I'm saying like I usually didn't. I was very focused on the books, but weekends, like people got wild in law school, certainly, and especially kind of wish I'd flipped. Kind of wish I went to Texas Tech for undergrad, for how wild those undergrads are, and then A&M for law school just to flip it up and then get connection. I mean, A&M wasn't a law school here in Fort Worth when I was going.
Yeah.
It happened while I was in law school, actually. It's kind of a bizarre situation where some people were going to be Texas Wesleyan graduates, and then it became Texas A&M in the middle of, their year. I think it was like 2L to 3L, some of my friends. And there's a big debate about, like, are we going to get Aggie rings? Like, are we going to be graduates of the school forgotten? It was a bizarre thing that happened. But anyway, I actually don't want to change anything. I'm good with the way everything happened. But
Sure.
Yeah, undergrad wasn't a fun experience for me. Like, most people were like, oh, yeah, I partied in college. I'm like, well, I partied, but I didn't like it down there.
Yeah.
It's College Station.
Not a whole lot to do except get in trouble.
Except get in trouble. That's exactly, the main thing that you do down there. Anybody that you talk to, I guarantee if they went to A&M, they've been arrested. That's the end of the sentence.
Full stop.
Yeah, it's probably happened.
So whenever you got done with all that, you immediately came back to Fort Worth?
Came back to Fort Worth. I wanted to work for the Federal Defender's Office, and I had done an internship for them and thought I was qualified, and because I'd also worked for the U.S. Attorney's Office and a couple of judges and a couple of state prosecutor's office and state defense attorneys. Thought I was qualified, and they needed a Spanish speaker. And I was like, I'll learn Spanish. I've taken 11 years of it, like from first grade all the way through mid-high school. I can get fluent in it. And they're like, oh, we've been told that before. No. And sort of out of spite, I started up my own law firm. I mean, also, if I had gone to work for somebody else, I think Lawhawk would have just disappeared.
So you didn't join that firm at all?
Well, it was the Federal Defender's Office.
Okay.
So basically, like, if you are charged with something federal and you can't afford an attorney, that office represents you.
Public defendant?
Yeah.
All of my legal knowledge, by the way, is from Better Call Saul, so I'm very limited.
Well, there's some stuff that's accurate in there. There's some stuff that's a little bit weird. I've noticed that a lot of legal shows, they get the law accurate, and maybe the procedures sort of accurate, but the trial practice is just out of control. There's not screaming and yelling and pointing finger. Well, I mean, a little bit, but not nearly as much as portrayed. Yeah. So, like, that's a good example is, like, Law and Order SVU.
Okay.
Dead on with the law. Dead on with kind of, like, cops being a little bit shady to get what they want. But then as soon as they put up a witness on the stand and they start being like, you're lying to me, it's like, that doesn't happen at all.
Work.
Yeah, that's not going to help anything.
Me and the girlfriend last night were talking about how, like, for her it's hard to watch certain types of movies, and for me it's hard to watch military movies because they don't get it right. So
are you former military?
Yeah, so things in her profession, she doesn't like watching movies on that because it's dog shit. And
it just bugs you because you don't want to be the guy that interrupts them. Right. Whatever it is, movie,
That's
TV
not
show.
how that would work.
That's not actually like at all what happened. But at the same time, you don't want to sit there and, the next question, if you don't say something, is like, how can they even do that? I'm like, well, this shit would have never, none of this would have ever even happened.
Let me take you 30 minutes back.
Yeah, like, let's rewind a little bit. Like, all that shit that happened, none of that. This maybe, but none of that. Hey, did you meet
Ken
Raph?
Scott?
Yeah.
Have you met him yet?
Oh, I've met him a long time ago.
He just fired up a new band, the Flying Beats.
No, he's a friend of mine.
Yeah,
I like
Ken's
Ken.
Good dude. And then his brother Stephen Trome.
I don't know Stephen. I don't think.
Yeah, they're usually floating around in the same circles, but he's got a band called the Traumatics. He's a hand surgeon, and also plays a pretty badass band here in Fort Worth.
I probably need to know him because there's always something going on with my hands, or I'm messing something. I would like to. You know what? You need to know a hand surgeon. Here's why. Like, if you I talked to a bailiff about this the other day down in Johnson County. He said he lopped off his thumb, or didn't lop it off. I mean, sawed it off with a circular saw. And because he knew a surgeon in Waco, hand surgeon, they like took him down there, and it was like a Friday night or something. It was or Saturday night.
No hand surgeon's coming out for that.
No, but he knew him, and he was like, oh, "Okay, we need to do this, this, and this." And he had his thumb to that day. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you know a hand surgeon, keep them in your contacts. Send them a birthday card, Christmas card, something. Stay in contact.
Dr. Trome, you got a birthday card in the mail. I just got to figure out when your birthday is.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah, so that a really cool group of friends. But that was one of the biggest highlights of the show. Whenever I lined up that interview, I'm like,
he's awesome. He's the only one that was not only the voice but also the stunt double that was inside of the costume and kicking ass and doing badass moves. He still trains. Best of my knowledge, I saw him at Smoothie King the other day, and right up the street. And he didn't train at my gym, but like our gyms are pretty close.
Yeah.
I think he's. I don't want to say it wrong. I think he might. Does he focus on karate?
Whenever we talked, he made it sound like he tried to. He's kind of multifaceted. He trains in a lot of different areas. He says he's by no means a master of any one type, but he practices in a lot of different ways.
Which is the smartest way to do it, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, like if you can take the best of each world, which is I'm focused mostly on Muay Thai. I know I should do more jiu-jitsu, but I just get fucked up every time I do that. Probably because I'm not tapping early enough. If I were to make a guess.
Well, you got the long arms and there's a lot of leverage points there.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, like it kind of is, and I think that I'm naturally a very sweaty dude, which you'll probably figure out at some point when I just start.
It's 90 degrees in here, folks. We did everything we could. We got 4 AC units going.
I'm sweating anytime. This is my comfortable temperature right here.
Yeah,
but
good.
Any girl that ever comes to my house is like, "Oh my Christ, can you please turn it down a little bit?" I'm like, "What is it? Oh, it's 78. I guess I can turn down like a couple degrees." And like, how do you sleep or exist? I'm sitting here thinking about like, I would love a full-size human warming rock, like for lizards.
A salamander.
Yeah, like a salamander warming rock. Like I would love that. Like especially for winter where I could just like lay on that thing. Oh my God, why has that not been invented yet?
You're an ideas guy. You should do this.
I mean, I've got
You're sitting on a gold mine.
Are you hot-natured?
Yeah, that wouldn't be in my house.
Okay, that wouldn't be in your house, but I'm sure that some of the listeners, some of the viewers are generally hot-natured, and their girl, whatever girl it is, really likes it to be about 64 fucking degrees in there, and there's a compromise or there's a heating rock, and I'm sitting here thinking I would love it. A full-size, man-sized heating rock.
Wild, man.
I would hang on that thing. I would just love that.
See, every woman I've ever dated is just extreme ice running through their veins, cold-blooded animals, and they want it 90 degrees in the house.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to trade.
It's weird.
We got to trade.
But also, it sounds like you are in the gym quite a bit. And whenever I was running marathons, I operated at a different temperature, and 78 seemed like a pretty good temperature.
A higher temperature?
I didn't. Yeah, I could. My body cooled down quicker when I was in better shape. Now that I'm not in as good a shape, I need the AC at like 68. So
that could be
the better health I'm in, the warmer it can be, and I'm comfortable.
Well, now I'm going back in my brain for
trying to remember that last time you were fat.
Well, no, I mean I know very well. Well, there's like a couple of random periods, but I used to be a fat kid, when I was little, like I don't know, 5th through 8th grade, something like that, and then didn't ever want to be a fat kid again. But there's like little times where, like when I turned 21, I think I went through a little fat period.
Yeah.
And I still think I'm totally badass. And then I look back and I'm like, oh God, don't send that to her.
It's cyclic, man. I mean, like I cannot keep myself at a certain area. Like I'm fluctuating all the time. I don't know what that said. It's probably something.
I like how
very
this just
derogatory.
What is the term for that when it just keeps going to infinity?
It's infinity. That's a tunnel to infinity right there.
Okay.
I didn't think this through a lot, but I feel like it's kind of working.
I like it.
Getting the results I wanted.
No, it's fun. And it's also like a slight delay.
Yeah.
So you get to, like, that's what I look like when I do that. Or that.
Clawhawk!
It works.
So you almost immediately started your own practice.
Yeah, right out of school, mostly out of spite, started my own practice. I had interned for a couple of judges in Tarrant County who were very nice to me and kind of helped me out and showed me the way, and also defense attorneys that they knew and respected. They kind of act as my mentors and showed me everything that I didn't already know. I mean, I've been working for a criminal defense firm since I was in college. Mm-hmm. I mean, on and off, and representing myself since high school. But that's like only a couple of times. And representing my friends also, which I can't believe that we got away with that. thank you to the judge that saw us doing our dumb shit when we're putting on suits at age like 15 or 16 years old, and we get like a fireworks ticket within city limits, or a no seatbelt, or minor consumption of alcohol, and we just go down there 3 in a pack. One of us would have a citation. All of us would be wearing suits and tennis shoes, and just they'd be like, Brian Wilson, and all 3 of us would stand up and walk up there, and the judge would be like, who are y'all?
What is going
who are
on
you children? And we're like, and we thought that if we just said criminal defense advisors, that was okay. We're like, we're not saying we're attorneys, right? We're all cool with that. Like, we just say we're criminal defense advisors. Yeah, that'll be fine. And so we're telling the judge, we're his criminal defense advisors, not attorneys, but advisors. And they're like, sit down. What are you even talking about? Because that's it. Now I see exactly what was going on. They probably thought it was funny. They were just like, what? Do they think there's a difference between a defense attorney and a defense advisor? Sit down, you idiot. No, I mean, like,
just using different words.
Yes. You can't be an advisor without being an attorney if you're advising on the law, for God's sake. And
you're doing this at 15?
The first time I represented myself, I was like 15 years old.
Were your parents in the room?
My mom had to be in the room, and she was horrified. She was sitting there just like...
How did you talk her into this?
Well, I just said, Mom, I'm going down there. I've got to go respond to this ticket. I set it for trial. And she's like, what? It's set for trial? And I was like, yeah, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. We handled this kind of stuff before. You just plead not guilty, and the cop doesn't show up. They dismiss the ticket. Well, the cop showed up.
Oh, shit.
And so what had happened was my best friend, Nick Butts, he's the cop in my commercials, he got a new jumpsuit that he swore was fireproof. And we're like, bullshit. No, it's not. It's like flame retardant at best. And so we're sitting outside of his house, which is like kind of over by Southwest High School. And we're at a 4-way stop, and we're shooting with fireworks. And at one point I light 100-pack of Saturn missiles, which is the ones that's like, zoo, pow, times 100. Okay?
At your friend?
At my, yeah.
From a distance of 20 feet, 30 feet?
We just kind of got it right. We were trying to hit him, and he was okay with us hitting him, so we could test.
Because he's in his flameproof suit.
Yeah, he's in his badass orange flameproof, which it mostly was. I got to give him props on that. And so we're shooting him, and like it had gone like 3 or 4. Like, I had just lit this thing, and we see cop lights, and it's a 4-way stop, and these things, like, there's no way to stop. Yeah, there's no way to stop, so we just stand there awkwardly with a cop, like, walking up slowly. He's like, they're shooting those things at me. That's what's going on. And I was like, yeah, all right. And so he's like, y'all sit down. Have y'all been drinking? What's going on? Get over here. All you dumb little kids, get over here. And so he finds the fireworks in the back of a Jeep that belonged to my friend Taylor, and she was out there, and they're like, well, I'm going to write a citation. If nobody takes ownership of the fireworks, I'm going to write a ticket to her. And she's crying, and I was like, all right, I'll take full ownership of everything. Like, it's me, I'll take it.
Good man.
And so I went to court, got the ticket, didn't go to jail somehow. Should have gone to jail probably. Went to court about it. I was like, Mom, calm down. It's going to be fine. And she's just horrified. She's not the type to want to be dealing with any of this. And so the cop got up there and testified, and I just said, Your Honor, I just want to, like, tell you basically what happened. Can I go ahead and do that? He's like, I'll listen to you. And so I told him that story, basically, that I took the charge because he was getting ready to either write her a ticket or take her to jail. And he looks over at the cop. He's like, is that about what happened? And the cop was like, yeah, pretty much. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and fine you $1. You can go ahead and get out of here. Find you guilty, fine you $1, and you're done. And my mom's still horrified. She's like, what just happened? I'm like, I don't know, I got a fine of $1. And it was at that point I was like, I could do this. I think I could be a defense attorney. That was pretty fun, like telling my story, like justifying like why what kind of stupid thing happened.
Yeah.
And why it didn't really deserve that much punishment.
Yeah.
If any. And so that was like the time where I was like, okay, I don't know when, but I know I'm going to be an attorney at some point. And so, yeah. But for a long time after that, I kind of had planned on being a stunt double. And so it was like
one way or the other.
Well, I mean, like I knew like attorneys, like you don't need to be physically fit or competent to do that. So I was like, I'll do that later on, like after I get injured in some horrible badass, I don't know, wreck or.
So what kind of stunts did you see yourself doing? Just anything Tom Cruise needed that day?
Yeah, exactly. Anything. I mean, I started taking gymnastics,
You're too tall to stunt for Tom, by the way.
That's kind of what
out.
I heard. Which I'm sure it's very high paying, and also I think he does his own stunts, which I'm very proud to say I do all my own stunts as well.
We saw that.
Yeah. I mean, and I'm going to continue it that way and if the stunts get lame, then I probably should just stop doing the stunts.
Yeah.
But until they don't, I'm going to keep doing them. And so, yeah, it's a policy of mine. I'm not going to ever have a stunt double. Unless it's like a body double of like a stuffed dummy that I'm doing something stupid as shit with.
Absurd.
Yeah. But other than that, no, I'm going to do all the stunts.
Jumping out of a helicopter, no parachute. That seems like something the Texas Law Hawk would do.
I mean, over a good-sized lake, probably not over the Trinity River because there's a bunch of rebar in there, but a lake,
Yeah.
sure. If somebody has a helicopter, hell yeah, let's go. I'll jump out of a helicopter.
Put that in the universe.
How high can you jump out of something? I've always wondered this, and I don't know the answer.
I might help.
How high could you jump and land in water and not suffer severe broken back, broken legs?
Not far.
Really? I just find that so hard to believe. Like, I've heard San Francisco Bridge is like it kills most people
on impact,
and then a few people survive. Yeah. And I'm just shocked by it. It doesn't seem like it's that high.
You know what the difference is?
What?
It's the water tension. So if you have a way to break the water tension, like say you throw a rock right before you jump,
then you go in smoothly.
It should, but again, there's no guarantee.
So if I'm falling, like my parachute didn't work or something, and I have a phone or something heavy,
chunk it.
I throw it ahead of me.
Problem is aerodynamics. If you're in a vacuum, what would suck is if you chunk your phone and everything else you got in your pockets, and then you just pass it up.
Does this. So you need something aerodynamic.
Yeah.
To hit the water ahead of time.
You got a pistol on you? Start shooting.
Smart.
100 feet above. Break that water tension.
Okay.
But still, I don't know. I mean,
has anybody tested this?
That would help. Yeah, I think Mythbusters did something on. I don't know. Maybe I'm making that up. But I do know that the thing that kills people on impact is that they're hitting a flat sheet of water.
I mean, yeah, I know about that from high dive. Like, you land wrong and it's flat. Mm-hmm. But I always just thought that, if you did a pencil or just landed very perfectly, that you'd be fine. But that's what they say is like it breaks every one of your bones that you're going in.
You know Hell's Gate, right? Out there at PK? That's the spot people like to jump off of. We're probably about the same age. And you might be a year or two younger than me, but there was a spot that everybody jumped off in PK whenever we were in high school. And they eventually had to shut that thing down because water receded. So people were used to going out there. Every summer, this is what we do. We jump off Hell's Gate. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's really high up, but the water went down.
And then one summer, which probably is the same thing right now. You're saying this is a recent thing?
This was around when we were in high school, maybe a couple years after.
Shit.
But so these kids were coming back with busted assholes and broken bones, and it's a whole thing.
Can you recover from a busted asshole?
I mean, they don't sell those new at Walmart. It's probably a process.
It's a valve, I assume.
I only know a hand surgeon. Oh, no, I do know a colorectal. We need to get Dr. Bethany Malone on the phone.
Or at least send off a birthday card in case that colon gets fucked up.
Did you know you can live without a colon? I learn all sorts of stuff on this show.
Yeah,
it's a quality of life organ. You don't have to have it. Yeah.
Is that
go ahead and think about that phrase for a minute.
Yeah, I know. I was like sitting there thinking, like, what else is a quality of life? I mean, like a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, colon for sure.
Like heart, lungs, and then liver.
Yeah. Kidneys.
But I mean, even then, you can live sort of dialysis. But man, there's not a whole lot. Most organs are probably quality of life. That's fucked up.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the robot bodies. I mean, that's going to happen in our lifetimes, I would think.
It's not far away.
Change bodies out like a tire.
Yeah, it is. And especially with AI, I just have kind of a feeling that it's going to be something where, like right now, it's quite rare for us to have a robotic organ, but they're coming around. And pretty soon it's going to be like an enhancement thing, I think. Mm-hmm. And after that, it's going to be basically like people that are either have the money to have some type of enhancement, whether it's brain or strength or whatever it is, or organs that last longer. And there's people that aren't.
Did you see Altered Carbon? Altered Carbon was, I think, an HBO show, or it might have been Amazon Prime. First season was awesome. Second season was dog shit. They only did 2 seasons. But it was basically that. Like, the people that had money, dude, you get it all souped up. But
and then
you didn't have money.
And then what happens to the people that are not souped up?
You can So what would happen is you could get a new body, but that body was property of the company that sold it to you. So now you're working 70-hour shifts, 4 hours off. I figured trying to pay off your body.
I figured that what they would do is just bring advertisements into it some way. Like, just have, like, your leg now has to just have...
That's all Nike, baby.
It has to have, Nike going down it at all times.
Lights up as you're walking,
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, whatever ad. They got to maximize the area of leg. So it's got to be Nike or Lulu or whatever thing. You're like, I don't really like this that much, but I've got to keep it on or I can't fucking walk. You guys know how it is. And they're like, I hate advertisements. But I do need one of those right there.
How long's your contract?
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of like sort of what we did to monkeys. I mean, we sort of evolved slightly past them and we're like, second class. All right, you guys are in a cage now. And like, how long until we, like the unenhanced, are not kind of like treated as whatever? You don't understand what's going on. You don't have like the development that I do, or the brain functioning, or the enhanced AI, or whatever it is, that you're kind of treated like a second class citizen.
Where are you at on simulation theory? Let's get into that. It's 50-50 as far as I know.
I don't know.
So we could be living that right now. We might be the lower life form inside of a computer program.
I mean, I agree that we would have no idea. But do I think that that's likely? I don't know.
Do you have just as much information supporting as you do taking away from it?
And it's a theory.
So it's 50-50.
It's a theory you can't ever really contradict. But at the same time, I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm in a weird pool of pink liquid like the Matrix.
You went Matrix, yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I just kind of feel like, whatever dumb thing I'm going to do, I'm going to suffer the consequences of that.
You know the James Webb Space Telescope? It got launched about a year, maybe a year and a half ago. It's the most advanced thing we've ever put out in the stars. And it's mostly IR. So it's out there scanning for stuff with a better camera on it, but using technology that we've never packed into a telescope before. Like
that's very smart.
Everything we put out there had IR, but like very limited. This thing is like straight IR.
That's pretty smart.
And within the last week or two, all the smart people decided that, we've been saying that the universe is 13.6 billion years. That's like the absolute oldest that the universe could possibly be. Well, now, 2 weeks ago, they decided it's 26 billion years old.
I mean, I just think we have absolutely no idea
about shit.
we a lot of time, whatever time that we are in, we think that we know everything, or like there might be a little stuff that we don't know, but pretty much we don't know dick.
Yeah.
I mean, like think about like back in the 50s, like we're doing a bunch of amazing space travel, and like we're doing all this kind of technology, and we didn't know shit back then. We really didn't. I mean, like we kind of knew sort of what was going on, but there's so many things that have happened even in 50, 70 years that we just didn't know anything about.
Yeah.
Science, about physics, a lot of stuff about physics, microbiology. I mean, pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Nothing about
all of it.
Robotics, artificial intelligence. You know what's crazy is how old artificial intelligence is.
What do you mean?
It's much older than I realized. I mean, they were toying with it, I think.
90s, right?
I thought it was like, it could even be earlier than that.
Because our first, like, legit computers came along in the 60s, and that's whenever the universities started packing these large computer thingies in these university warehouses, classrooms or whatever, but they operated off of punch cards. And so that's like the 60s. I mean, and these things were massive, and they could do very basic shit. So When did AI come around?
I in my head, I could be wrong on this, and I hate to lead people astray, but I think it was like the 80s is when they were like tinkering with it, which would maybe make sense. Like when they have computers, like let's see if this thing can think for itself or solve issues. But it was much earlier. I thought it was like the 2010s, maybe like 2005. It was way earlier than that.
Things started kind of popping up around mid to late 90s, where we were getting into some serious, where we were able to take data housing, like a terabyte of space now is this big, and maybe you can get it smaller if you pay more money or whatever, but a terabyte used to be the
take
size
up a
of
whole
this
room
in the 80s. So it's gotten exponentially better over the years, and then outside of that, quantum computing. I mean, that'll blow your mind if you watch a documentary on quantum computing. It's unbelievable.
I do. If you have any recommendations, I'm very interested in that, because
just type it into TikTok, man. You'll lose your mind. It'll destroy you.
Can we talk about TikTok real quick? This is kind of the reason why I stopped making videos for a while.
Okay.
I just can't stand it. I just don't like it.
Is it because it's so effective?
No, it's because a lot of that shit is fake on there, but it makes the people that watch TikTok believe that whatever they just saw was absolutely true, absolutely real, researched to the fundamental levels, and then presented as perfectly succinct facts within 10 seconds.
Right.
And the reason for that is because people are going to scroll real hard. Like if you don't have something that catches their attention and immediately tells them something that's so fucking interesting, they're like, oh my god, holy shit, that's interesting. I'm gonna watch the remaining 10 seconds of this video. Like it gets thrown down in the algorithms, and so that's kind of why I've not. Everyone's like, oh, you need a TikTok, you need to do a TikTok, you need to do a TikTok. And I mean, that's one problem I have with it. The other one is that everyone just steals everyone else's content, and they're like, I'm adding to it, and they'll have whatever video, for example, my videos, behind them, and they're like,
just making faces and shit. Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that.
Like, but what the fuck is this? Are y'all serious? This is not added. And so if I wanted to be a dick, you can obviously have that probably taken down with copyright infringement. But
who's got the time for that, right?
Well, no, I mean, I have the time for that. I'm an attorney, and if something like is affecting my brand, negatively, I will go after it.
Okay.
But it doesn't affect me negatively. It's fine.
Right.
I mean, like, it promotes
your name
it more
out there further.
Yeah. And so that's why I don't really care. But at the same time, I'm like, if I like making good shit, and if I tried to play with the algorithms on TikTok, what they want is voluminous content, like more the better.
Yeah.
And there have been probably at least three I can think of commercials that I've shot that I was like, nope, not getting released. I don't like it. It didn't work out, or like the shots weren't as funny as I thought they were, and so I'm taking it back. Which, there are still funny things that would happen. There was one that was like, it was a bad time. It was like all about guns, gun safety, There
was a shooting or something.
Well, there was a lot of shit that was happening, like exactly at the time I was going to release, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and hold off on this. And then later when I watched it, some of the clips were very dark, which I don't mind. I'll show the clip, because out of context now when I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, like when I first showed it, like it made me laugh, and then I showed it to other people, and they were like,
oh, you can't
do this. And I was like, oh shit, that's not the reaction. I thought I was going to get like a funny reaction, like people laughing. And then later, now that happened, I'm watching, I'm like, that's fucking funny. Like that's good right there. But yeah, there've been multiple commercials that if I were a TikTok guy, or like shooting for like, I have to put out as much content as I possibly could. I put out way more shit, but I'm kind of finicky, and I don't like putting out stupid shit. And
I like that you're hyper focused on protecting your brand, because and with my TikTok, I just call it my dumpster fire. I'll just pick up the phone and start recording stuff,
and it probably does pretty well to do that kind of stuff.
Like you were talking about, there's a certain thing that TikTok wants in order to feed the algorithm and get you the views. I've got just over 1,000 followers on TikTok. It's nothing, but it serves my purpose because it's just another platform that I can talk to my audience. And a lot of people get in there and watch the stuff, but they're the same people that are on my TikTok and my Facebook.
And some people just prefer TikTok.
I like the functionality of it. I'm not going to advocate for any social media shit because it's destroying our brains.
Yeah.
But it is highly adaptive. And what I see on TikTok is a lot of documentaries, and a lot of the videos I watch are probably 5 to 10 minutes long. Like they're
on TikTok?
Yeah.
I thought it was only 60 seconds or less. That might have been an old ass rule.
Maybe, yeah. But and then if they need to chop it down, it'll be like part 1, part 2, part 3. But I'll watch full documentaries. I watched a documentary on was it Big Boy, the bomb we dropped on Hiroshima? Dude, it's so dark, and that stuff's getting real popular because Oppenheimer's in theaters now or coming up soon.
Paired with the Barbie movie, which I will not see until like I don't know.
Oh, you'll have a hot date that wants to go real bad. That's what's going to happen. Yeah.
I just don't see that happening.
She's going to make you wear pink, sir.
I don't. That will never happen.
You don't own a pink suit? Come on.
No, I don't hardly own anything pink. I mean, it's just like I just don't like the color that much. It's obnoxious to me. But there's like sometimes where I have, I don't know, random pink and stuff. And I've noticed that it's if I have to go to a prosecutor and we have to like talk about something kind of sensitive and like
pink might not be the color.
No, I mean pink is a good color for that. Like I kind of, if I'm going for like want to get attention and like get people's focus, like red, something that punches. If it's something where you need to be more trustworthy, like blues, purples. If it's something where you need to go in there and just basically like ask them like, look, come on,
yeah,
this is a fucked up thing. But here, listen to all this other stuff that happened to this guy. It's more of like purples and pinks, which is fucked up that this kind of stuff happens in my head. But
do you do a lot of psyops?
I mean,
it's part of the gig, right?
I just kind of have to think about that stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if it hurts or helps, but I don't want it to be a factor that works against one of my clients. You know what I mean? So like, if I have that handy, like I don't think I'm going to go buy. Like, I need a pink tie today. I need to go to the store. But if I have it there and it's only going to hurt me if I don't do it, then why not do it to help out my client? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
now you're specifically focused on representing people that are fighting a DUI. Is that what I got from
DWIs, probably I would say 80% of my cases, maybe. A lot of assaults, aggravated assaults, DWIs. Let me think of what else. Drug cases. When it gets to, I mean, I've handled cases where it's like various homicide, like murder and intoxicated manslaughter. And I'm so happy to intoxicated manslaughter I'll still absolutely take. But straight up murder, I'll probably send you to somebody else. I mean, I like to focus on my cases and get in pretty deep with them, and I don't take as many clients as some attorneys that are just like funneling them in and then funneling them out. I don't do that with my clients. And so the amount of money I would have to charge on some type of very serious case like that is more than most people would have. And so murder, anything with child, a bit like, let me just go ahead and say there's one type of case that I just probably you should call somebody else, and I'll be cordial about it, but it's probably somebody else that's going to be best is any kind of animal abuse case. Yeah. That's something I love animals, and so it's even the name of it. I would not be a good juror for somebody else that was like, we're here talking today about an animal abuse case. I'm like, I don't even want to know anything about whatever's going on. And that's happened a couple times, but for the most part, anything from public intoxication, like any kind of Class C misdemeanor where you don't want it on your record, up to like Class B, Class A misdemeanor, felony. I mean, like I've handled any level of felony, especially like when you get to drug cases where somebody starts having, they think, oh, I'm going to put 30 pounds of weed in this suitcase and it'll be fine. And we'll just go ahead and check it and nobody will know. That's, of course, something I'm happy to take, even though it's a very high level felony and that was really dumb as shit. I still got that case dismissed, but
nice.
That was, I I mean, they're topping up the warrant. They put the wrong bag on there.
That's all it takes.
Oh, it's a shoulder black bag, and it's a rolling green suitcase. Like, that's a pretty big difference, and that's what the purpose of a warrant is to say, here's all my facts. I want to search that, in that case, plastic, black, hard case with one handle on the top. Like, describe it. Describe the actual thing that you're about to search, and don't, get so excited because it's, allegedly 30 pounds of marijuana that he's vacuum sealed in there, and put the wrong bag entirely. That's dumb. So, I've noticed a pattern that, like, if you start getting into bigger jurisdictions like Fort Worth Police Department, Arlington Police Department, Dallas Police Department, they have their problems still, but for the most part, they don't get super excited about a crime and to where they make routine, rudimentary mistakes that I see in smaller police departments.
Yeah. They know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two.
Yeah, because it's not that big of a deal. It's just like, we got to process this one case forward. But the smaller the police department, I've noticed kind of the more problems. And some wild shit always goes down in Saginaw. I don't know why that. I have no idea why that. Some of my wildest cases come out of Saginaw.
It was technically Fort Worth, but that's where I bought my first house. It's a weird little area. Yeah.
There's like that one area that has the railroad tracks.
Yes.
Does it not seem like you just find a body out there? It just seems like if you want to walk, that you just be like, oh, there's a body. Okay, I need to contact the authority.
Rough little spot, yeah.
It just seems like kind of weird out there. Like, nice homes on this side, and then railroad tracks, murder town right there.
The only thing I think of whenever I'm about to cross those tracks is if you hit a train, if you're going to wait on a train, when that one clears and you continue forward, you're going to get stopped by that same train heading the other direction.
Does it go? It goes like that?
Yeah, there's a little, some kind of energy. It's so fucked
Is there
up.
any way to...
There was talk about, like, maybe building a
bridge
an underpass or something under those rails, because, I mean, it will shut shit down.
You can't just haul ass?
I mean, it's a train, dude.
What I'm saying is, you're saying it loops all the way around. It's not long enough to, like, it'll loop back around. Okay.
Yeah, so, like, you could. You might need to go 90, but
But then you're in Saginaw and
then those shit.
Well, you know what I pulled you over for? And you're like, you know why this happened.
The 30 pounds of weed and the questionable suitcase? I know somebody, by the way, sir.
Yeah.
I'm a sovereign citizen.
Oh, God. I'm not.
You're not defending that one, right?
No. I mean, like, it happens. I used to take court-appointed cases, and I mean, I still will help somebody out or waive a fee on somebody if I think that they deserve it. But for the most part, I don't do court-appointed cases anymore.
Those are the best videos to watch.
Oh, man. I think they're the best. Now that I don't have any of them that I know of, they're the best ones. Anytime I'm in court and I'm handling something and all of a sudden I hear something about, like, you do not have jurisdiction over me because the United States did not ratify back, and I'm like, I'm going to sit down. We're going to watch this one play out. And so I just sit there and I just love watching that stuff go down. And sometimes you'll have some judges will be like, jail immediately. But then some will be like, let me just hear you out. Let me just hear you out and see what kind of thing. And I'm just going to respond to the things you say.
Yeah.
And like, you don't have jurisdiction. Like, I don't have jurisdiction over you. Like, you don't have jurisdiction over me.
Take a look around.
Watch this. Bailiffs, put him in handcuffs. And they're like, you can't do this. And like,
but I just did it.
Like, that's what is power over you to, like, make things happen to you. So whether you're kooky, wild ass internet search that produced basically a script for you to argue, it is just not. Just don't get a defense attorney. Keep your mouth shut, and hire somebody that knows kind of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And go meet your defense attorney, or talk with them on the phone at extended length and just see if there's somebody that is right for you. That's the fastest way. Don't go with, there's some attorneys that work for big firms, which you'll never have the same attorney. They just kind of cycle them in and out. But if you get somebody that you talk to and you trust and you can figure out pretty quick if they're going to have your back or not.
Yeah.
And you can figure out if they're intelligent or not, and figure out if they, talk about cases where, like, this is my estimation. Another big red flag is if they're like, I can get this shit dismissed. I'll get it dismissed tomorrow. Don't even worry about it. Like, you can't promise anything like that. Every case is different, and we have no idea until we see all the police reports, video, and we still can't guarantee it. But I can tell you, basically, rough angle is like, yeah, we might get it dismissed. That sounds pretty fucked up, but I don't know. And then that happens a lot of time where I tell people, like, it's not looking good for us, and then it turns out we get the case dismissed or get a not guilty or whatever happens. But my job is to usually explain the worst possible scenario and just say, like, whatever it is, like, we're going to fight. We're going to get it less than that. I know that I have to tell you about the worst possible scenario because that's my job. I have to tell you about anything you need to be worried about. And so I don't think I've ever gotten the worst possible scenario. That's kind of my job, is to make that not happen. But I'm just saying there's been times where I was like, it's not looking good for us. And then it turns out it was like, we need to take this deal immediately, or the judge fines for us. And it's like, holy shit, I did not think that was going to happen.
What do you mean by fines for? You just
I mean, like, if we file a motion to suppress evidence, like, it's something where it's kind of a borderline thing, and maybe we have a judge that's not as favorable to, like, whatever kind of motion I'm filing. Motion to suppress basically says that if it's a bad stop or a bad search or something like that, they're not allowed to use the evidence against you. And a lot of exceptions, but basically the rule, the easy way to think about it, it's what they taught us in law school. It's the fruit of the poisonous tree. So you got a tree and fruit coming off of it, but if the search was bad, or the stop was bad, or the arrest was bad, and they got fruit from that, more evidence later on, you can't use that. Even though that's good fruit, it appears it came from the poisonous tree, you can't use it.
30 pounds in a bag that you weren't supposed to search.
Yeah, you guys weren't supposed to search. You should have just, arrested him on probable cause of whatever, or typed the warrant up correctly, or asked if you could search, or done a variety of many other things, but they didn't do that. So, yeah, that's one example. And so, that's a lot of that is just getting the right prosecutor, knowing them, and knowing how to operate with them. There's some prosecutors don't want to hear any of that shit. You're going to have to take it all the way to motion. But then there's some that they'll listen to you, and they'll understand that I've got bigger fish to fry. I got other stuff I got to do. Like, guy going to take a misdemeanor?
I don't really feel like listening to Bryan today, so let's just move this along.
Yeah.
But that helps, right? I mean, you've been in the area. You've been practicing law for a while now, and so you've kind of built up a community. You know these people that you're going to be working with. You know when you see the judge's name on the docket or whatever, oh, okay, well, I know him, and I know how I'm going to play this now. So,
absolutely,
a rookie attorney wouldn't have that advantage.
Absolutely, and especially if I were to go down to, I don't know, Travis County, I would have no idea. And one of my buddies got arrested for DWI in Travis County. He's like, "Help me!" And I'm like, you need to hire somebody local.
Here's the guy.
You need to hire somebody. And I did tell him who the guy was.
Yeah.
He's a badass, and he got the case dismissed, just like I would have. He did a great job. But yeah, you got to hire somebody local. Even you said you're from here, right?
Well, I've been here for 14 years. I'm from Abilene.
We'll call that from here.
Pretty local. Fairly local.
Pretty local. So you know the difference between Fort Worth and Dallas, for example.
Same city, right? No, yeah. We don't like Dallas.
Yeah. It's not that we don't like it. We just don't need to go out there. We just don't need to deal with that, that stuff.
Let them do their thing.
Yeah, let them do their thing over there. But so I can go practice in Dallas County. I think it's fine. But if you have a Dallas attorney come to Tarrant County, everyone in the room knows. They start screaming and hollering, I'm going to file this motion, I'm going to do this and that.
The Dallas guys do.
Yes.
Watching too much.
And everyone in, all the local prosecutors just kind of look at each other like, oh my God. Okay. File whatever motions you want to do. Calm down. And usually if I can tell that they're from out of town, I'll go up and help them because I don't want anybody getting screwed over, anybody getting something worse. And so if I detect that somebody's really young or from out of town, I'll go talk with them. And I'll be like, here's the way this shit works. Like, you got to do this, this, and this. You got to tell your client this, this, and this. Especially if I see somebody that is handling a case that just from the way they talk to the prosecutor, they don't know what they're doing. Like, they mostly practice in family law or some other area. I don't know. They have a family practice or they do personal injury. You can see them, spot them from a mile away.
Yeah.
And so I'll just go without hesitation, like, hey, come here. We need to talk real quick. Here's what you need to do. Like, did you already tell your client this? Okay, you need to tell your client that. And is he a citizen? Okay, that's a big deal. All right, okay, you need to tell him this, this, and this. And go ahead and ask the prosecutor for this. They'll probably do that if you just do this. And just, if I have to interject to help save somebody, I'm going to do that.
You think that interjecting that goodwill kind of helps you with your reputation inside the law community?
I don't do it for reputation. I do it because, like, somebody's out there, and whenever I was getting in trouble, I just always try to practice law like I would want my attorney back in the day whenever I was in trouble and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was so scared, and for whatever dumb thing I did, and I was sitting there like, I don't even know what's happening right now. I want me representing me back then. And so that's kind of how I act now, is anything that I would have wanted back in the day, like somebody to explain a little bit more fully about the law. I explain the law to my clients probably way more so than necessary, because I want them, and I show them every bit of evidence that we got, and I just want them to be fully informed about, like, what's going on so they understand. And that's why all my clients love me. I mean, even the ones that are done and over with their case, I mean, minus my one ex-girlfriend that was very angry about everything. You know, she's unhappy with me.
That adds up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Got her case dismissed, too, but fuck her.
You're welcome.
And, yeah. But I always sit there and think, like, what would I want my attorney to do back in the day? And, like, my attorneys were amazing. I mean, like, granted, the cases were pretty silly shit, but whenever I had to hire an attorney for some wild shit, I wanted them to, like, go back there and go to bat for me, and that's kind of what I do. And so, like, even if I don't know their client, don't know who they are, it's not for reputation. It's more of, like, making sure this person doesn't get fucked over. Because
you've been there, you felt that fear, and you needed somebody to really stand up for you.
Absolutely.
So you get that feeling.
I mean, yeah, it was. I am very thankful. Greg Graves and Robert Parrott back in the day, like, yeah, they got me out of some shit that, I mean, I should have been out of it in my view from the beginning, but
didn't want to represent yourself on that one.
No. No. I mean, if you get the thing, I was smart about that. I mean, if you get wrongfully charged with a DWI, that did cross my mind, is like, I'm going to go down there and just represent myself. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm going to go just talk with this lawyer just to see what he says, but then I might represent myself. And he's like, I was like, I told him I was completely sober, like, I was arrested wrongfully, like, this is fucked up. Like, as soon as whatever kind of results come back, like, it's going to show that I wasn't intoxicated. And he's like, you need a lawyer. They do not dismiss this and write you an apology letter. That's just not how they do it. And he was right. I see what he was saying about that kind of stuff. It's true today. Like, if you come back, I have a case right now that's under the limit DWI, and we're set up to go to trial on it, and it's some stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, 0.063, 0.058, something around that.
Did they have a CDL?
Gave a breath, gave a blood sample, no CDL. Got a dispute with the cop about, you know, they're about to do the walk and turn, and he's kind of saying, like, look, I just want you to do the full 9 steps, because I want to watch you do them. It just kind of helps me out. Because I was like, I don't have to do that. I only have to do 3. I was like, it would really help me out if you just do, like, the full 9. So I can see, like, what I'm supposed to do right now. Because it's a lot of steps. They give them 14 different instructions all at once. A divided attention test. It's exactly like driving. It's fucking stupid. I'm just trying. Yeah, all I have to do is 3. I'm just for the demonstration. Like, can you please just do it? You know what? You're being difficult. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest. Click. Put them in handcuffs. It's fucking stupid. And that happens a lot. People get wrongfully arrested for DWI more frequently than most cases. I'd say that and domestic violence are the 2 most frequently wrongfully arrested people, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. They don't want to dismiss that case from a prosecutor's perspective. It could be several different motivations, but one of which is if we dismiss this DWI or we dismiss this domestic violence case that is entirely weak and should not be brought before court, should not go to trial. But if we dismiss it,
makes us look bad.
I mean, like, what happens if my boss finds out and they get mad at me? Or what happens if this guy goes out and gets another DWI later and hurts somebody? Then they write a news article and then I get fired.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a big motivation, I think, for a lot of prosecutors is they don't want to get fired. And that makes sense.
They don't want their county to look like the soft target, the weak county where you always get off.
Their boss certainly doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's kind of shitty because that applies to all cases. Even there are some cases that absolutely should be dismissed. I mean, a lot of them. Domestic violence is a little bit more tricky because it's kind of like this person said this happened, this person said that happened, and it could be a little bit different. But there's still some cases that they don't want to go. Injured party, complainant, whoever it was said, I was making up whatever happened, and the prosecutor kind of still wants to go forward on it. But I'd say, like, even domestic violence cases, prosecutors, generally speaking, are pretty reasonable. For some reason, and I've been practicing for a good amount of time, and I still don't fully understand why they are so obsessed with DWIs, which is kind of why I focus on that. It's like, if you got a weak DWI, I, as a prosecutor, would dismiss the shit out of that without even second-guessing it. Now, granted, I'm not in their shoes, so I don't know what else has been said to them. Like, if you do this, you're running a risk of this person doing it again and running into a school bus full of children, and then there's a news article, and then you're fired and disgraced. I have no idea, like, what's going on in their head, but I don't know. I used to say it was MAD, like Mothers Against Drunk Driving, being a powerful lobbyist group that if they found out about something like that, where a case got dismissed and then he later hurt somebody or killed somebody, they would come protest the fuck out of the judge and raise hell and we want to be heard. It's like, well, a weak case getting dismissed, their duty as a prosecutor is to only prosecute where justice so deserves.
Right.
Like, we're trying to seek justice, and if it's something where they can't prove it beyond a reasonable doubt, or there's some legal issue that says, like, the cop shouldn't have done that, by all standards, I mean, I could argue whatever position I have, but really, like, I kind of know deep down, like, that cop was fucked up when he did X, Y, or Z.
Right.
I mean, whenever I was an intern prosecutor for Burnett County, I would quickly dismiss those cases. I mean, there was one, I remember they had a talk with me. It was like charged with like 14 different Class A misdemeanors this is back when K2 was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that weird, horrible shit? So there was like a grab bag of K2, and he had all of it. It was different substances, whatever. And I remember just thinking, like, why are they charging him with 14 different Class A misdemeanors? It should be just one. Like, he's just possessing one K2. Just various types of random
brands and stuff.
Yeah, just different brands. It wasn't like, oh, this one's to mimic cocaine, this one's to mimic blah, blah. It was just K2. Variety. This is before that. It was just different varieties of K2. Just be like, oh, I wonder what these are like. I'm going to buy them from the fucking the head shop. Yeah. And
legally.
And legally it was just so fucked up. And he'd had all those, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and dismiss 13 of these 14. They're like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? I'm like, I just don't think it's right. I mean, I think you should have one, if that. And like, you need to get more pleas on this. You got to get more pleas. You got to plead guilty to more things. I'm like, it just doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
It just is not something I want people to plead guilty to more than I think they deserve. So, and that's kind of and I got to tell you, like, Tarrant County, amazing prosecutors. I mean, like, there's probably one or two in the whole building that I'm like, oh, fuck, I got to deal with this person. But, like, the other 130, however many it is, amazing people, and they generally try to, like, do the right thing. And so I'm not stressing about that. If I go south of Tarrant County. West is pretty all right. North of Tarrant County, it's nightmare. Dallas is just new prosecutors getting cycled in and in. So, but yeah, I don't even practice in Denton County. I can't stand that place.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. Some counties are very savage toward DWIs. It's even above your average county in Texas. I mean, your average county in Texas is pretty adamant that, like, and it's just crazy. I mean, people just
I wonder
don't.
if that's ever going to calm down, because I was thinking about that the other day. I mean, we will destroy someone's life if they get caught drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And if they can't afford an attorney and they go through the whole gamut, good luck.
The problem is like, it's not only your Class B or A misdemeanor, whatever it is. I mean, of course, if it's third or more felony rep, I get them coming down hard. Like,
sure.
This guy got to learn a lesson.
Mm-hmm.
I get that. But B or A misdemeanor, whatever, they have an alcohol problem and they've done their classes up front and they've done something to show you that they're not going to be a problem again. And generally they'll work with me on it. But for years and years, it just kind of was so difficult because I just deep down in me, I hated when my client pleaded guilty to anything. I just did not like it at all. I just kind of felt like it was me.
Yeah.
Pleading guilty to shit. But I've kind of gotten over that over the years. It's like, if I work out a really good deal, they're getting an obstruction of a highway, parked in a parking lot in a hotel, and they're like, well, we're going to need some kind of plea. I know he went to a jail for DWI with a .19, multiple times the legal limit. We need some kind of plea. And I used to really stress, I'm like, no, you should fucking dismiss this, because he wasn't driving while intoxicated, just sleep in his car. And actually, that's what my next commercial is going to be about. I decided this a couple months ago. I have had a lot of cases recently where cops are taking people to jail. They're just sleeping in their car, and I'm sick of that shit. Like, people are sleeping in their car, making the right decision, like not driving home, and they're like, well, they could have driven home. And I'm like, you gonna make a jury have to hear all this stupid shit? Like, are we really gonna have to go there, or are you just gonna give us something fair? And so frequently they'll offer obstruction of a highway, but I just want people to not get arrested for that. Are you listening? Get into the back seat, okay? If it's not over 100 or under 30, like, take the keys out of the ignition, throw them in the way back. Don't have them in your pocket. Don't have them. Put them somewhere else. Buy a pillow and sleep on the pillow in the back. But for God's sake, just don't be in the driver's seat with it upright with a seatbelt on. I get that you just are making the right decision, like, this isn't a good idea for me to drive home, but I need the AC on because it's Texas, or I need the heat on because it's also Texas and also freezing, depending on the month. But if you're in the driver's seat, driver's seat, that's the end of the sentence. If you're in the driver's seat and the keys are somewhere nearby, you can get arrested for a DWI.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up. Get in the back seat.
Well, and
sleep it off.
I've done that before, and I don't know where I heard that advice, but you take the keys out, you put them in the trunk.
Just somewhere else.
Yeah.
And get into the back seat. And so that's I think that's what the main part, I try to break my commercials into, like, the first part is crazy shit to catch people's attention. The middle part is a narrative to kind of teach people some kind of legal lesson. And then the end is do something wild and, hey, call me.
When's that coming out?
Shit,
I need a hard date.
Oh, you need a hard date? Actually, I work better with deadlines.
Me too. Now that you've been on the show, we'll promote the hell out of it. So
let me think. Let me finish writing it first, and I'll tell you a hard day.
Okay.
It's going to be, the first part of it's going to be AI themed. I got those MMA or the punching bags that look like people.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have him. He's gonna be my AI. Just like, okay. You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Like, I put him on some kind of robotic thing that moves around. Maybe like send him down a hill a little bit. I feel like he's also going to be addicted to dust off, like just occasionally.
All right. Yeah.
But then, like, wild parts. I think I'm going to do a backflip at the beginning. Just like, because I haven't done one in a while, and everyone's like, oh, what happened to Wall Hog? You still got it? Like, bam! Punch front, backflip on solid-ass concrete, like, Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk, just right away.
That's a sound bit. It's going on the board.
Yeah, just like fucking put it out there. And then, do a bunch of crazy shit. I don't know. I feel like I could
blowing anything up
I feel like I need to break a backboard.
off
Like
a pool.
No, I mean like I get a not a basketball player at all, but I've always wanted to break a backboard.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
That's so badass.
It's on the list. Everybody's got that on the list.
It's so badass. And I know how to fuck with fake glass. I mean, I guess I could do it with real glass, but I feel like they just do all the safety plastic now. You got to find an old school one to get the glass or create it yourself. But you saw in that video that breakaway glass. I said I had one take on that because the other take I had was made of sugar glass, which is fucked if it's like over 95. And
really?
That was my mom's garage that I turned into a jail. And it was like at least 95, probably more than that. It was in dead middle of summer. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that is floppy glass, and floppy glass doesn't break. It just kind of folds over.
So it starts kind of just...
Yeah, and so I have one take with the fancy glass that's like this, again, another chemical I probably shouldn't have covered myself entirely in, but I was like building this. I mean, these are haphazard, like crazy wild shit type sets. It's not like, okay, the next scene is this. It's like, all right, let's do this next thing. I think I have all the chemicals here. Let's go ahead and spill these together. I'm in my suit, just spilling chemicals everywhere, stirring them. Be like, okay, I built this frame. I think it's the same size as the door. I don't know. And we put it up there, and like one of the little bottom parts just like falls out and shatters. I'm like, oh fuck! God, what? God, please don't shatter. And yeah, just did that.
Oh, you nailed it.
Oh, thank you.
Did you say you had another one in the can that you're waiting to release?
I have at least 3 that I've shot and not released. I mean, I could...
You're still on the fence if you're going to use them?
I mean, I still could. The gun commercial was kind of wild shit. I don't mind showing y'all some clips from that. I have another one that was like in the process of making, and it was like something about like 10 tips, basically, if you're... I remember now. 10 Commandments of Criminal Defense. I remember because, like, at the beginning, I was like, fuck, we only have time to shoot 5. And so one of the first scenes, I'm on this motorized desk I built. And, like, I'm not here to talk to you about the 10 Commandments of Criminal Defense. And then one of them just flies off and shatters. I'm like, the 5 Commandments of Criminal Defense.
And you got that on video?
Oh, yeah. I got that already shot up and ready to go. I just haven't edited it. And gun commercial probably is like, I haven't done that. There's at least 3 that I've shot that have not made it out there. I shot another one for Snoop Dogg. It's a bizarre thing. Basically, Snoop Dogg was doing, I don't know the name of the show, but he's doing it now.
Okay.
It's like something where because Snoop Dogg can comment on anything, and it's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, Snoop Dogg.
And and he's commenting on what is it? It's like just legal, probably people being arrested, I think. And they asked if I wanted to be on the show, and I was like, yeah. What do I do? And they're like, oh, just send us like a 30-second video of you holding the camera like this, and tell us why you want to be there. I'm like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something way crazier than that. And so I did, and I shot it, and my idea, because I'm very familiar with him and like his history, and I only listen to rap. I know I look like I listen to country, you judgmental fucking viewer, but I don't listen to it at all. Save Johnny Cash. But anyway, very familiar with Snoop Dogg, and I know his history, and I was like, I'm going to talk about his case.
Oh, boy.
He went through where he was, in my view, wrongfully charged with murder. But and so I was like, the whole video was talking about, being wrongfully charged. Like, I've been wrongfully charged too. And like doing wild shit on the whole video. And I sent it to him, and they're like, can you talk about the trial a little bit less? I'm like, that's in every scene. Okay, I'll go ahead and sort of cut it down. And I cut it down and sent it back to him, and I was like, I feel like they didn't show it to Snoop Dogg. I feel like if he had seen the original version, he would have loved that shit.
Yeah.
But I feel like he didn't see that. But yeah, at some point they were playing my commercials on the show, and they asked Snoop Dogg, they're like, would you hire him? It's like, fuck no. And I'm like, My God damn it, Snoop Dogg! I know you didn't see the original. I know you didn't. I feel like you should have seen that, but then it is what it is. I'd like him to have seen the original.
Anything you want us to show on the video, we'll happily put in there.
Okay.
So I'll give you my Dropbox and get those loaded up.
I mean, what do you? I don't know what you want. Is there calls or is there?
Well, they're supposed to be, but it's a weird time. We usually do these recordings on Saturday, so nobody's. We got one message from Cassandra. The audio I could not figure out for the live feed, so
It says the headsets aren't on. The sound is different.
yeah, she can't hear it. Nobody can hear it on the live right now.
Cassandra?
I tried a lot of different things.
Oh.
Cassandra is going to be at our September 23rd event. She's a very talented Fort Worth artist. We've got a big event coming up September 23rd, benefiting Cook Children's Hospital. That's going to be a good deal. What are you doing September 23rd? We're in between 11 and 6.
I would have no
Are
idea.
you going to be anywhere near Pouring Glory? Let's check with Emma.
Pouring Glory, is it a bar or a restaurant?
It's a bar, but it's more of a restaurant. It's a growler refueling station. They do have craft beer on the wall, but they've been nominated by the Fort Worth Weekly multiple times for their award-winning burgers.
I'm interested. I love burgers.
So Cassandra's going to be there. We've got Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensations, Late to the Station, and Jaybirds.
What do you think the best burger in Fort Worth is? Give me a couple that are in your top 3, and I'll tell you what mine are.
Well, I spend a lot of time at Pouring Glory. They're a sponsor of the show, and their food is excellent. Their burgers are top-notch. If I'm going to choose something outside of sponsored material, I used to really like Rodeo Goat. I haven't been there in a long time, but they usually had some pretty off-the-wall, badass hamburgers. You're going to pay top dollar for them, but they're worth it. I don't know.
Been to Charlie's?
Charlie's the fast food place?
Charlie's old-fashioned hamburgers.
You ever been to Grump's right up the street?
Mm-mm.
That's a pretty damn good burger.
River Oaks?
Mm-hmm. Just right around the
I love
corner.
River Oaks, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sold. I'm gonna buy some kind of property and turn it into a compound. I feel like I could get away with that in River Oaks. I
Yeah.
feel like I could set up a nice little fenced-in
You saw
concrete.
you saw the way this property's set up. That's basically a compound.
It's pretty badass. I mean, I'm impressed. I turned it in one place. I was like, oh, this is not right. And then right across the street was a mansion. I'm like, this is a crazy place that
Yeah.
I grew up here, and I've probably driven through River Oaks at some point and had cases out of River Oaks, but I don't think I've ever driven the way I did. And I was like, I had no idea this really existed. And it's right here. It's 10 minutes away from downtown.
I keep ending up in River Oaks. Back in 2011, I had a little rent house off of Taylor Street, and was deployed out of the base here, Carswell. And when I went on that deployment, I got rid of that house and ended up in Plano and then back to Fort Worth.
Ugh, this is so much better than Plano.
Oh, yeah. Plano's awful.
God
And
awful.
Now, Plano, I feel bad for anybody that lives in Plano now. 10 years ago, it was rough. Now it's
Wait, it's rough?
untenable. Not rough. It's rough as far as the traffic and the bullshit. And
Yeah,
it's just
and
the
snoot.
cost.
The
Yeah,
snoot and the
There's
cost.
A lot of snoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I like Fort Worth. It stays the same way.
It's Fort Worth.
Yeah.
I saw something stupid today, and I mean, there's no way to accurately project this, but it said in 2050, Fort Worth is going to be the largest city in the world, or the U.S. or something. I'm like, who made this?
If all the random
We've
cities,
got the room for it.
Yeah, we've got room for it, and really, I don't know. We're kind of laid back. I mean, I could see us expanding a little bit, but at the same time, not being a snob about it.
Every time I see a new set of condos or a new apartment building getting put up, I'm just like, shit.
I gotta get some.
Well, I mean, every time one of those goes up, it just means change, more people, more traffic. It's just.
But downtown still is the same. Still the same as it's pretty much ever been. I mean, there's still a bunch of crazy people running around.
The Bass family gets finished with downtown, there will be nothing left.
Yeah, probably. But then, as soon as that collapses, they'll put something else up.
Yeah.
I mean, for a while, it was that 14 years, you probably didn't know about, like, the skating rink and Tandy Center and all that kind of stuff.
I've heard all about it.
Oh,
yeah.
it's wild.
Those tunnels are still there, and I want to get down there with a camera.
When?
You tell me when. I've got the guy with the camera, and we want to go.
What are you doing tonight?
Well, I mean, you're an attorney, so I feel like I'm with the right guy for this.
I mean, here's the deal. When it comes to exploration, especially of Fort Worth, I love that stuff. I imagine the most we'd be committing is a Class B misdemeanor, criminal trespass, if we see a sign that says don't come in here and we ignore it.
Yeah.
Which is a jailable offense, up to 180 days in jail. Generally speaking, they're not going to pop us with more than credit for time served on whatever we go. I'll take that charge to go see something really, really cool that I've never seen before.
What if we break a door or go through a chain?
That's the problem.
Fence?
So, like, every one of those factors is probably going to pop up on, like, assuming the most unfortunate that we were to get arrested. I'm not advocating breaking the law, but at the same time, I don't think it should really be illegal. Like, we're just exploring. We're maybe documenting or trying to show other people, like, how cool this place was. We're not trying to go in there to smoke meth and break shit and fuck things up. You know, when I was younger, I loved breaking shit. But
Or before the 3-week period after no nicotine.
mostly. I was thinking about that. I've been dipping since I was, like, on and off in high school, I'd say.
Yeah.
Like, mostly quit, but dip. Oh, that's bad stuff. I hope that never catches up on me.
Right.
Yeah.
Same.
But I don't know if we tunnels. There's also this building. I went running downtown the other day, and there's this huge building. Let me think of. It's on the way to North Side, so that would be Exchange Street, maybe. There's a long bridge that takes you right into North Side.
Okay.
I think it's Exchange. I could be wrong on that, but there's a big empty building that I guess people would just smash all the windows. And I was running down there, and there's like a long staircase down, then a long staircase up on the other side. When you're all the way down there, it's just like, looks like people just kind of walk in there and hang out. I'm like, what is in that building? I have no idea, and I want to know what's in it. I'm just very curious as to see.
Is it just open access? You can just run in there?
I don't see anything that would prevent that.
What's holding you back? You need some friends?
I asked, as I was going down there, you know, I'm in the middle of the run, just ran down the stairs, and there was a guy just standing there like, and I was like.
Just geeking out?
So I just asked him, I was like, hey, you ever been in there? And he's like, you're not allowed to go in there. And I was like, that was exactly the opposite of what I thought. I thought he was going to be like, oh, yeah, it's cool. Or like, oh, you don't want to go in there. Or like, whatever. But he was like, you're not allowed to go in there. I'm like, you follow rules? That's cool. Just thought you were going to tell me like what was in it. That would have been sufficient if you just told me. But now I'm just so curious. And yeah, I have thought about like shooting a commercial in there. And I feel like that would be not a good idea if I shot a commercial and like documented
something
convincing evidence that I had been in there. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm not for breaking the law
we just
anymore
need to
or
find
anything.
somebody
But like,
that can get us access to these places. Like, yeah, I'll take you. Let's go.
I can just go look inside. I just want to see what on earth is in there, because that's whenever I was younger and like we'd get into somewhere that we'd figure out a way in, and we get in there and we're like, oh my God, why has this been closed off? This is so cool in here. You could do so many things in here.
Yeah.
Like mostly skateboarding is what I used to be into.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like there's a lot of warehouses that we get into. Like this is great skating. I mean, we got to clean up the glass a little bit, but otherwise it's really, really good skating in here.
Yeah.
And so I have no interest in that. I'm not trying to get a shattered wrist. That's such a common thing. You just shatter a wrist nowadays on a skateboard. We're getting too old, but I don't know. Something motorized would be pretty fun in there. Like
Little mini bike?
Yeah, a little sneak a mini bike in there. Like I have a lot of fun. And I'll be like, oh, there's a lot of lights. All right. Yep. All right. That's not going to make any statement, but yes, I understand what's going on.
What's we've been here for an hour and a half. We're going to tie this up. What is a common misconception that people have about your position?
About my position? Like as an attorney?
Yeah. You get the same weird question all the time, and you're like, it doesn't really work.
How can you represent somebody if you know they're guilty? And it's like, they haven't been found guilty.
Yeah.
A jury has not found him guilty. A judge has not found him guilty. They haven't pled guilty. And so we're working on a wide spectrum of how much guilt is here. And so a lot of people don't get that. They think it's binary. They say either this person is guilty or completely innocent. And first of all, let's talk about that. There's a big difference between guilty and innocent. There's a wide middle ground of not guilty. All of that is not guilty. Beyond a reasonable doubt, or a plea, or a judge finding you guilty, that's beyond a reasonable doubt. That's a very high evidence standard. Everything else could be anywhere from not guilty because we just aren't sure, all the way to completely innocent, wrongfully charged. And so all of that is our working ground of whatever somebody comes in. And sometimes they are, they
Guilty as shit.
Yeah, they tell me like, oh yeah, I screwed up, man. I was drunk as hell, and I'm very embarrassed and sad and scared and everything. And then it's mitigation at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a wide spectrum. I think that's something that people don't get a lot of the time. And everyone wants to be real hard on somebody for getting arrested and like, I can't believe you do that, until somebody, either they or somebody in their family, gets arrested, and they figure out what comes down on them, and it's a dark cloak that hits you or their family member, and they're like, oh,
no, you're on the other
we need
side
somebody. We need somebody to protect them because this is a bad thing that's happening to them. Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's scary, man.
So I'd say, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And then we talked about burgers. What's your favorite hangout, bar, restaurant?
I'm not a bar dude anymore, but restaurant, Little Red Wasp.
Oh yeah,
Good burger there.
Okay.
And it's weirdly vapid in there. It's just nobody is in there hardly ever. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, is this a drug front? Like,
it's a club at night, isn't it?
No,
or
it's just
venue?
it's just a restaurant that serves really, really good food and is never busy. And I'm probably ruining that by telling people about that, but
I've never been in there. I know exactly where it's at.
Okay, go try, get a cheeseburger or spaghetti meatballs, depending on what you're feeling. Either one of those, you're going to be set. It's a really, really good place. Delicious food and good service, and just, you feel good walking out of there. Really do. I get it to go all the time. I just love that place. Spaghetti and meatballs, I don't know how you are with spicy foods. I feel like you're probably fine with them.
Certain times of day. Anything after 5 p.m.
Then you just got to get a cheeseburger then at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's why I used to be a West 7th dude, and I just kind of figured out, I was like, I don't like going to bars.
Changed.
I just don't like going to bars.
Well, West 7th used to be real dialed back. I mean, we had Fred's down there. Magnolia Motor Lounge is gone. I mean, there were some really chill places you could go.
I still like it sometimes. It seems like Northside's kind of taking over a little bit, or amplifying at least. My opinion is, I just like a place where I can go and have, I don't know, usually White Claw nowadays, because it doesn't make me hungover.
Right.
Like, I have a White Claw and talk to people. I just don't like places where you can't hear what other people are saying. Like, I've never understood the full-blown club where it's like, and you can't hear anything anybody's saying. Like, what is the point?
What are we doing here? Yeah.
What is the point of that? I've never.
Same.
Can somebody please explain that to me? Like, at some point, what is the point of that?
Now, we'll go see a badass band and let them crank the volume all the way up.
That's the point of it, is to watch the band that you love, or the band that you're kind of curious about, to hear them play some loud ass and have that music hit you real hard. But I kind of get that. But if it's like
just hanging out, yeah,
like, and you can't hear anything anybody say, "Hey, what?" And like, I just have never understood that.
It's exhausting.
Yeah,
I'm with you. You gave me your card at the beginning of this, and I'm going to give them your phone number, but I'll put this in the show notes too.
If they just Google Law Hawk,
just do that.
Google Law Hawk, you'll see me pop up.
Don't be giving out that phone number, Andrew.
I mean, you can if they call me. It's probably going to get forwarded to the office.
But you're right. You're very easy to find.
Yeah,
so.
It wasn't hard. Just
I
send me an email.
Video, found you in 2 minutes.
Yeah, it was good. I had my my intern do the research. She was like, "This is the one."
Emma, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Emma.
Thanks, Emma.
Can we get you back on the show sometime?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Well, I mean, before or after we get arrested from going into one of these buildings?
Well, this is the before. So
okay. This is before.
I guess after you get me dismissed, then we'll do a recording, talk about that crazy shit.
Okay.
All right.
All right. That sounds good.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for being here, and we'll see you next week. Mr. Bryan Wilson, thank you for being on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. He said it a couple of times in the episode, but I want to make sure you guys heard him right. His assistant decided that the Fort Worth Roots podcast was the podcast that he needed to be on. But he's been on a bunch of other excellent Fort Worth podcasts here recently, and you need to go check them out. The one that I remember right offhand is Corks in Cowtown with our friend Robin from episode 165. That was last week's episode, and she also did a recording with our friend Bryan Wilson, and you guys should go check that out. But yeah, Texas Law Hawk on Instagram, Texas Law Hawk, Bryan Wilson on YouTube, and he's just got some freaking hilarious videos that you need to go check out. Yeah, he's an attorney, but he's also a hilarious local Fort Worth creator. So give him a like, give him a follow, and enjoy some of his videos. They're ridiculous. All right, what else? Ladies and gentlemen, September 23rd at Pouring Glory. We want you to be there. We've got a lot of really cool people coming out. We've got 4 bands for you. Itchy Richie and the Burning Sensation, Cassandra May Laurence, Late to the Station, and Jaybirds. We got a huge, it's not huge, a very specially curated, hand-selected group of vendors out there. We've got permanent jewelry vendor out there. We've got art that's going to be out there, handmade art, wood turning, customized laser engraving options, and all sorts of really cool vendors. So come for the music, come for the vendors, stay for the food, and support the charity. This year it is for Cook Children's Hospital. A portion of the proceeds from the food sales go to that. Nicole Dawson with State Farm is going to be out there, and she has made a deal with us. If you will allow her to give you a quote, there's no purchase necessary, she will give another $10 to the charity for every single one of you that comes out, supports the event, and let her give you a quote. So it's going to be a good deal. That is going to be at Pouring Glory, September 23rd from 11 to 6. Pouring Glory is located at 1001 Bryan Avenue. This will be in the show notes. They have award-winning food, and if you don't get to go to this event, you should at least go check them out, try the food. We've got a huge selection of excellent craft beers on the wall there. After you're done eating all that good food, you're going to need to go to Body Machine Fitness and work it off. They're located at the Left Bank Shopping Center over there off of 7th Street, just across from Trinity Park. They offer a truly one-of-a-kind fitness experience. Your first class has already been paid for. Go to bodymachinefitness.com to schedule your first high-energy strength group fitness class with best-in-industry trainers, cutting-edge audio and lighting systems. Show up early or stay after the class for the IR sauna and nutritious snacks in the lobby. And we have been telling you guys for a long time, if you want us to go with you, we have a membership. We go to Body Machine Fitness. We love it there. Holler at me. media@fortworthroots.com is our email. Or you can DM us on any of the social media. If you want us to go with you to one of these classes, we will definitely do it. That would be awesome. So let us know whenever you get signed up for one of these classes that have already been paid for at bodymachinefitness.com. And we'll see if we can't make our schedules line up. And then after you've done all that hard work, you deserve a beer. You should go to McFly's Pub. And it's over by the base. It's 6104 LTJG Barnett Road. It is a 1980s Back to the Future themed bar with a very impressive outdoor area. They've got all sorts of activities there. It's very chill. Their air conditioner is great. You walk into this place from that hot Texas summer heat, and you're going to forget how hot it was within 15 seconds. Great air conditioner in there. Wonderful drinks. Really good vibe. Go check it out. Again, that's McFly's Pub over there by the military base just outside of downtown Fort Worth. Tell them that you heard about them on the Fort Worth Roots podcast. Wood Post Metalworks. You can go to woodpostmetalworks.com, offer code podcast817. They are in the process of plasma cutting a really badass sign for the studio. It's going to be plasma cut. It's going to look cool. It's also going to be LED backlit. I think there's 2 colors in it. It's going to have 2 different layers to the LED backlighting. It's going to be sick. So we're really looking forward to that. Can't wait to show you guys. But Wood Post Metalworks, that's what they specialize in. Metal signs with or without LED backlighting, fence and gate repair or installation, light steel fabrication, industrial plasma cutting, and more. Hawk Walker Originals is going to be out at the September 23rd event that we've got going on there at Pouring Glory. They offer a huge variety of unique and personalized gifts, also laser engraving to customize just about anything you can think of. Last year we had these really cool tumblers with our logo on them. We're going to have them this year, but we're going to have more of them this year. So if you didn't get one of these really cool stainless steel tumblers last year with our logo on it, come hang out with us this year. Let's see if we can't get you one. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. We talked about them at the beginning of the episode. The Houck family has really taken care of this podcast for a very, very long time, and we would not be here without them. And so, of course, I'm going to say good things about them, so don't take my word for it. Go look it up yourself. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck has the best rating out of the 4,000 roofers in DFW. That's not an arbitrary number. There are 4,000 registered roofers in DFW. How are you going to pick the right one? Well, you listen to the Fort Worth Roots podcast, so you got a leg up on most people. But Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck has got the best rating in our community. Check any platform you want. Go check it out. Roofing Solutions by Darren Houck. You can get them roofingsolutionsHouck.com, or you can give them a call, 817-882-6520. And don't forget, you get 50% off for being a Fort Worth Roots podcast listener. All right, who else? Who did we not talk about yet? I know we got to talk about our friends Cowtown Nutrition, located at 5430 River Oaks Blvd. They offer a healthy alternative to that compulsory fast food craving. You can also load up on your favorite Herbalife products and learn about their fitness groups that they hold on location at Cowtown Nutrition. Check them out on Instagram at Cowtown_nutrition, and they will be at the September 23rd event, and they are wanting you to come out there and join us. Hang out. I don't know what they're going to be doing. They might be giving out samples or something like that, but they will be with us. So that's something else you get to enjoy out there. September 23rd at Pouring Glory. If you didn't make it out last year, you missed a hell of a show. But the good news is it's year 2, and year 2 is going to be better than year 1. So don't miss this one. September 23rd, 11 to 6. We are down to the wire. If you haven't already put this on your schedule, it's kind of your last chance. Go ahead and pencil us in. You don't have to stay all day. You certainly can if you want to. But you can come out for 20 minutes, hang out, show your support, help us with the charity for Cook Children's. Stop by the booth for Nicole Dawson over there at State Farm, and you don't have to spend a dime. You don't have to make a purchase. You can make a $10 contribution just by showing up and allowing her to give you a quote. So, all right. That is enough talking out of me. Make sure you go check out and follow the Texas Law Hawk. He's more than just a great creator with a bunch of funny videos. He's an attorney, and you might need his services. But I'm not going to give you his phone number because he doesn't want me to. He wants you to look him up online. Bryan Wilson, the Texas Law Hawk. Thank y'all for listening to this episode. We will see you next week. Hey, don't forget, September 23rd, come see me out at Pouring Glory. Big event. Love you. Bye.